Pleasure. He's in his 5th year as Chief Executive Officer of the prestigious Allstate Sugar Bowl. He's presided over a national championship game, and the Sugar Bowl will feature a national semifinal game this season. Started as Assistant Executive Director of the Sugar Bowl in 1993, moved to Associate Executive Director in 1995, and became COO in 2006. Previously served at the University of Georgia Athletic Association from Creston, Iowa, where he earned Hall of Fame honors as a player in football and basketball, and has a degree from Iowa, a master's from Western Illinois, and there's no greater benefactor in the state of Louisiana than the Allstate Sugar Bowl when it comes to amateur athletics. They are the champion of amateur athletics in Louisiana. We know it through Crescent City Sports, through our radio shows on Nash Icon 106.1 FM, through Friday Night Football, and so many other entities. We're very, very grateful to the Allstate Sugar Bowl and proud to serve on the Media Selection Committee for that entity as well. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Jeff Hundley. Jeff?
Thank you, Ken. Good to be with you all again. Start off with Zach, congratulations. I'm not sure if you doubled my ACT score, if it would get to yours, so way to go. Coach Curtis, congratulations to you, and I know you'll hit your number and beyond. Coach Stewart, great start to the year. Tulane LSU off to a good start. We do amateur athletics, so I won't talk about the Saints here. So, no, seriously, it's a busy time of year for us. As Ken said, we host a college football playoff semifinal on January 1st. Question I get asked a lot about that, do we have the 1-4 or the 2-3 game? Well, we won't know that until the season's over, and we know the teams. The way it works is the #1 ranked team, they'll slot that team in the bowl closest to it. This year, the Sugar and the Rose are the semifinal games. So if it was to happen today, Georgia's ranked #1. We'd have Georgia against Florida State as the 1-4 game in our game. But again, there's a lot left to be played. First CFP rankings come out next week, Tuesday on Halloween, so we'll have a better idea. We've got the AP and the coaches polls out, but typically there's a little bit of jockeying once the CFP gets in the room and starts examining records and opponents, etc. So it's an exciting time. We're busy as well. We do Coach Curtis and Ed's Friday Night Football show, Ken's show that's been on forever, Friday night on WWL on the radio. So we're very passionate about our involvement in football and particularly high school football in this area, and proud to be able to help out in that way. This year happens to be the 90th anniversary for the Sugar Bowl. We had a luncheon a couple of weeks ago, and it was themed Keep New Orleans Sweet. As we prepared for that, Lenny, why don't you pop that first slide up? We really self-assessed and believe we haven't done a good job historically telling our story. Quite frankly, it's just a little unnatural for us, and for me personally, I don't like to be beating my chest about the things that we do, but come a place and a time now where we feel it's necessary for people to be aware of the things that we've been doing. We've made big commitments to this city since 2019, when we hosted the College Football Playoff National Championship game. The Sugar Bowl put $6 million of its own money towards that effort to bring the event here, and in doing so, we got involved in supporting public school teachers and the Orleans Parish school teachers, and we've done so to the tune of $4 million since 2019. Just made another $1 million commitment to that effort, because what we found were the entire teaching workforce was turning over every 3 years, and you can't teach young people when that's happening. So we're trying to recruit, recognize, and retain quality teachers as part of that effort. When COVID hit, we were one of the first people that stepped up, and we put $500,000 towards the support of out-of-work hospitality workers. We found out there were kids who didn't have, when remote learning became a thing, there were kids who didn't have access in this community to internet, we stepped up with the college football playoff and provided access for a lot of young people in the area. We didn't tell anybody about it, we just did it because we felt it was the right thing to do. When there were shootings on the Virginia Tech campus, we spent $250,000 to provide mental health counseling for students on that campus. We didn't tell anybody, we just did it. But again, the football game over time has helped us generate the type of money that can support these type efforts that are important to the community. So you might ask, why are we changing our tune right now? Why are we going to talk about it? College athletics has changed. In the last several years, you know, the decisions that are being made right now are about money, plain and simple. And you know, quite frankly, the Sugar Bowl has been fighting above its weight class for a long time now when it comes to money with these other cities. When you consider the other groups that are involved, the playoff will expand. This year is the last year of the 4-team playoff. Next year it goes to 12 teams. And with that expansion, we expect that the cost to participate is going to rise. We've been told it's going to. The expenses are going up for that. We have a contract right now that covers this year's game and then the first 2 years of the expanded playoff. And then after that, it's a competition. And the competition is real. Lenny, you got that there. We're fighting above our weight class when it comes to competition, and there's real people out there. Nashville, building a new stadium. They have, in the course of 2 years, come close to raising $75 million from the private business community. It would take us decades to raise that kind of money here in order to compete. They're in the SEC footprint as well. Las Vegas is on the outside wanting in. Don't have to say much. There's plenty of money in Las Vegas right now, and the NCAA has gotten past its prior aversion to doing anything in Las Vegas, and you know, they're comfortable out there now. So real competition. Houston, Orlando, San Antonio, all competition that we have to consider, you know, as we go forward. So what we're doing in telling the stories, we're reaching out to the business community, and 2 weeks ago at our luncheon, that was our first effort in doing so. Let people know what's going on, the competition we face, and to see if people are willing to help us as we go forward. And you need to understand that, you know, we feel like we're doing our part as we go forward. 2 years ago, we hosted a kickoff game with LSU and Florida State. We did, you know, it accomplished our tourism mission, but we did that because it generated some revenue that we knew we were going to need going into negotiations that we're going to have with the CFP come next spring. We also did, for the first time in August, the Sugar Bowl country kickoff. I wish y'all could have been in my shoes when I went into my executive board and told them we needed to do a country music event. They looked at me like I had 3 heads. But it wound up, we had Garth Brooks in the event, it wound up being a great event and generated some nice revenue for us again, for the purpose of being able to compete as we go forward. So we're not sitting on our hands. But even with that, we need help going forward, and a lot of you probably have bought tickets or been involved with businesses who've helped us in the past, and we appreciate that. But we need, you know, more help as we go forward. We understand that we can't make anybody care about the situation that we find ourselves in. Everybody has their own issues, but we do think there are some reasons why people should stop and take a look at us going forward. We represent a $200 million economic impact to the city and state on an annual basis. And that includes $20 million in direct tax revenue to the city and state on an annual basis. Additionally, by virtue of the game being telecast nationally on ESPN, that provides millions of dollars in free advertising that promotes the city and helps drive the tourism engine of the state, which is ultimately the engine that drives the entire state economy. So if you're so inclined, there are ways that you can help. Going forward, we've created a website where you can get into it, but it starts out with tickets. Going forward, because of the additional rounds of the playoff, we're going to have as many as 5,000 more tickets that we need to sell locally. And we've redefined local to mean everywhere from Gulfport to Lake Charles and all points in between, and we're fast about trying to get busy doing that. We're sold out for this year, but the need really begins next year as we go forward. And why that's important, one, the revenue obviously, but two, there's a movement out there right now with the athletic directors around the country. More than 50% of the athletic directors want to play the entire playoff on campus as opposed to coming to neutral sites like bowl games like we have. The minute that happens will be a sad day for the Sugar Bowl because we'll be on the outside looking in, and the major event status that we've enjoyed for 90 years now will be out the window. So we can't give them a reason, the ADs a reason to take it back to campus. So we've got to sell every ticket possible here. So that's one way that we're asking for help. Sponsorship, every bowl, endeavor, relies heavily on sponsorship. So we'll be fast about that. And a lot of people these days are interested in cause giving. If you want to help us support New Orleans teachers, you can do that. There's an opportunity to give, to directly support teachers. And then, I didn't mention earlier, but we do a lot of scholarships for kids in this area. In the last decade, we've done almost $800,000 in scholarships through our platform with the National Football Foundation and also with the Women in Sport initiative that we've started. So we're trying to do what's right. We're trying to do good things for the community. It's uncomfortable for a proud 90-year-old institution to have to come like this and make an appeal, but it's for the best of all of us if you're interested in the organization going forward at the highest level. So we'd appreciate the help if you're so inclined, and otherwise, thanks for the opportunity. I remember when I first moved here, I had been working in the athletic department at the University of Georgia. One of the first things I did when I came to the city was go to a quarterback club meeting. Back then it was being held in the old Blue Room at the Fairmont, which is now the Roosevelt. I'm glad to see that it's still continuing, and I still see some of the faces that were here even way back then. So Ken and everybody who's involved in keeping this organization moving and going forward, I'm grateful for your efforts. Thank you all. And I'll answer questions if you have.
When the playoffs expand next year, is the Sugar Bowl going to get at least 2 games?
We'll be a quarterfinal for the first 2 years. The opportunity to have 2 games in 1 year, is that what your question? Would only come if in hosting the national championship game. And another little inside baseball, we've lobbied pretty hard with the conference commissioners. The decisions about our future are made by the conference commissioners. Greg Sankey with the SEC, Tony Petitti with the Big Ten, et cetera. All those guys make the decisions. We've argued that they need to tighten the rotation on the national. They don't need to go to Santa Clara. They don't need to go to Tampa. They've got known quantities and entities hosting games in the New Year's 6 bowl cities, and we can do it more economically than those cities can. So we will have an opportunity, we think, as long as we're in, to host a quarterfinal 1 year, and then a few weeks later host a national championship game. When the playoff expands, also the national championship game, they're targeting on an annual basis to try to play that game on the Martin Luther King Monday is what they're looking to do going forward on a permanent basis. It fits good with the NFL schedule, and they like playing the game on Monday night, so it looks like that's where it's going to land.
What's the status of the Allstate tie-in? How long is that for?
We have a title agreement with them for 3 more years, so it's the same length as our contract right now. They've been, I have to brag on them. They've been just a fabulous partner of ours. They got involved, in full transparency, right after Katrina. So they've been with us 2007. They had taken on some water, no pun intended, with all the people that suffered loss during Katrina, and they wanted to affix themselves to a Louisiana institution, and felt that the Sugar Bowl fit that bill, and they've just been a great partner. They do a lot to support college football and college athletics throughout the year, and certainly in college football. Thank you all very much.